One of the things that's really confusing for a lot of people is organizational alignment. And what organizational alignment really is, what alignment is the ability to say yes and then deliver on what the organization needs. The ability to say yes and deliver on what the organization needs. And now, when we talk to people, oftentimes, they're very frustrated with a lot of the organization's decisions. They want to be consulted on decisions. And they feel like they're just being blasted by decisions they didn't have their input on. And what's changed in our reality is that so many of the decisions are being made not even within our own organization. Where are decisions being made? The government makes decisions. Bigger organizations. Who else makes decisions? Government, bigger organizations. Consumers, our customers, the marketplace, the research makes decisions. So if you are someone that's feeling more, or your employees are feeling more and more upset that they're not being consulted on decisions, or upset just because reality is changing, then they're feeling more and more displaced from the organization. So many of our decisions are being made outside our four walls. If Nestle changes a big thing, and you have to go that way to keep the organization alive, you guys could go out of business. We can't say, I didn't like that decision. Or if the research says this is 100 times safer, and you're saying, well, it's easier to do it this way, we can't really argue against that decision. So organizational alignment is a piece we really got to dive into. So often we hear, but doesn't my opinion count? Alex, don't you want my opinion? And we often joke, we say it depends, and probably not. But we would love your expertise. But we love your expertise. Now, what's the difference between opinions and expertise? Expertise is much more fact-based, as much as we can be. Yeah, what else? What's expertise as well?
Actionable.
It's actionable. Which way does expertise like the initiative to go? Forward, huh? The best interest forward. Where does opinions like to take the initiative? You want my opinion? That won't work. You want my opinion? That's a dumb idea. Yeah, opinions are often used to stop the action. Talk about why we shouldn't have to. Expertise versus opinions. Now, does my opinion count? We often say to people, it depends, probably not. Your expertise would probably be more helpful, but your input depends on where we're at in the decision-making process and what your role is. And so let's look at the roles of the decision-making process. So if someone goes, does my opinion count? And I'm like, has the decision been made? The person says, actually, the decision hasn't been made. I say, it still depends. What's your role? Are you the decision maker? Now, in organizations, decision makers have the ability to say yes and or no to a large project initiative. How many people in our organizations are true decision makers? What do you guys think? Have the ability to say yes and or no? What percentage? 1%. It's usually about 1%. Most of us want to play the veto card and say no when we don't have that signing authority. If you're not the decision maker, are you the consultant? You're coming to the table as a consultant. Now, consultants don't tell us what we have to do, they tell us what we could do. They lay out many different options to make the decision happen, or many different options to do the work, and the associated risks with each option. Now, if I'm a consultant and I start saying the only thing you can do is this, I'm now out of my role as a consultant. And most of us are left in a spot that has made us really, really unfamiliar, and that is being a person that is really good to be informed of decisions. Now I ask you guys, how good are we at that? Are we really good at being informed? If someone came back and said, your role is going to be completely different tomorrow, are we all like, thank you for letting me know? This is awesome. I'm all in. Anybody? Is anybody like that? If you're like me, most of us are very upset at that. I was a consultant? What? This is crazy. Yeah, most of us really can improve our play at being really, really good to be informed. Now, why do I say this? I've learned, this is the toughest thing for me, that the better I get at just being informed, when someone drops a decision on me and I just say, thank you for letting me know. Good to know. I stay neutral, the more information that comes my way. Now, if I'm a person that gets very upset every time a decision is made, nobody wants to tell me what's going on. I've found that the more we get skilled And we found with people practicing this, the more you get skilled at being really good at being a person to be informed, the more you might love this position. Because it takes a lot of time and energy to try and be in on every single decision when we don't oftentimes have all the information going on there, or it's not even our decision to be made. And so once a decision is made, the quickest way to add value is to find our role, and then once we know our role, we all have the same kind of option and action, and it's to do whatever it takes to move this thing forward, to make it work. Now, has anybody been really paying attention? This will be for a book. What does this relate to? To do whatever it takes to get the job done. Yeah, what is it?
Accountability.
The first step, commitment. Yeah. Now, most people hear this and they go, so you don't want my feedback ever. Is that what you guys are thinking? Did I catch anybody? So you don't want my feedback ever. Feedback actually comes from people that have said yes, and they've jumped in, and they've done whatever it takes to get the job done, and they've got the job done, and then they come back with input on, we got it done, but here, if you want to do it better, faster, cheaper, here's some ideas. Do you want my ideas? That's true feedback. Any feedback that comes before this is actually a form of resistance, because you haven't tried to do whatever it takes to make it work. Now, regardless of your position in here, you will always play these 3 roles in your career. All of these roles, you'll play them. Now, the waste comes when we play the wrong role for what the situation merits. We find people in this spot that we call the third option. The decision has been made, the organization needs to go this way to survive, to stay in business. Someone comes in and says, I don't like the strategy. I don't like the decision. Well, what are your key concerns? What are the risks? Like, what's your plan to get on board and love the strategy? I told you I don't like it. I think it's a bad idea. Well, then what are the risks that we need to mitigate? Well, I don't even want to look at it. I just hate the decision. Well, then what's your plan to transition off my team? Well, I'm not going anywhere. I love it here. Perfect. We can use your expertise. We really like having you as a coworker. What's your plan to get on board? I'm not gonna. Well, then what's your plan to leave? I'm not gonna. Oh, I see here. You think there's this third option. To stay in hate, to stay in sabotage, to stay and bring us down, to stay in armchair quarterback, to stay in critique. See, there's no third option. You either stay in joy or you leave in peace. But when we live in this third option, it brings down the whole system as a form of resistance, and that person will be unhappy because you're at your organization completely against all the decisions. It's one of the most unaccountable places we see people get.